Today on the podcast, I am super stoked because we get to talk to one of Edwardsville's real first responders, the man, the myth, the legend, Ed Burnley, lieutenant with the Edwardsville Fire Department. He's one of our CrossFitters here. We get to learn his story and hear what it's like for him doing CrossFit and also learn about the man behind the scenes. So to get Ed's story, stick around.
Welcome to the CrossFit Edwardsville Community Podcast, where we hear and learn from our coaches, CrossFitters, and Glen Ed community leaders. Now, here are your hosts, Dallas and Greg.
Welcome, guys, to another episode of the CrossFit Edwardsville Community Podcast. I'm one of the coaching team at CFE, Coach G, and today on the podcast, super excited to get to interview one of our rock star CrossFitters from the 9:30 and noon sessions, the man, the myth, the legend, CrossFit badass, Ed Burnley. Ed, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
We're excited. So Ed officially became a part of our CrossFit Edwardsville community on September 27th of 2021 as a part of our CrossFit onboarding program. Fast forward to now, he's completed 161 CrossFit sessions. Ed is a lieutenant with the Edwardsville Fire Department. He's a husband. He's a father, becoming more badass by the day. Today, we get to learn about him. So Ed, if you're ready, we're going to jump right into our opening questions. Is that cool with you?
That sounds good. I'll tell you that 161 seems high, but hey, that
works. So let's break the ice. So maybe you've got around 161 CrossFit sessions under your belt. According to the system, that's what you do. So you probably have some perspective by this point. Going on, what is it, like a year and a half, 2 years almost? So let's break the ice with easier questions. Ed, what are your all-time favorite CrossFit workouts?
So I'm the absolute worst when it comes to remembering what workouts we do. My philosophy is just show up and whatever you tell me to do, we're going to do. But I do enjoy the 12 days, the 12 days of thankfulness, and then the 12 days of Christmas. Don't know why. It's nice to see that build up to it, and then everybody is nervous, and then you do it, and it's great. So if I had to pick, I'd say those. But if you asked me what I did last Friday, I have no idea.
So it sounds like for Ed, the workouts the most memorable or most enjoys are like the longer, super epic, over-the-top workouts. Is that right?
Yeah, the build-up, all that, absolutely.
So, okay, well, let's flip the script then. So what are the hardest CrossFit workouts that you've done?
All of them, right? No, so honestly, probably the hardest one I've done was the final exam for the onboarding. And it
really?
Probably had a lot to do with, you're just getting back into it, and it's not overly complicated, but Bailey's in your ear trying to get you to push harder. And I remember that one being hard. I remember, the lungs were burning and being glad when it was done. So I'm going to go with that one.
So the final exam is a CrossFit benchmark that we give to people relatively new into their CrossFit career. And if you speak CrossFit, it's a chipper where you do 20 of one movement, 20 reps of another movement, 20 of a third one, 20 of a fourth one, and you work your way down this long list. And it's epic, it's wild, it's crazy, it's a lot of fun, it's super tough. But let's take it down to the exercise level. So for Ed, what are the exercises that you get the most excited to see in the programming? Like you roll into CrossFit on a Monday, and these exercises are on the Jumbotron, and you are stoked. What are those exercises?
Man. So I like the cardio. I like rowing. I like jump roping. The run, not so much. And then that stupid assault bike I can do without. But other than that, I'm a cardio guy. Anything shoulder-wise, that is, I regret that. I immediately regret trying to go to the gym that day, but I'm definitely more on the cardio side.
Now that surprises me to hear that, as I happen to know a little bit, having done some workouts with you. Like when it comes to bench press, shoulder press, you're the man. I don't care what to my audience out there. I don't know what what you're hearing, but I've seen Ed lift, and this guy is a star when it comes to shoulder presses and related movements. Do you confirm or deny, Ed?
Well, I appreciate those kind words. And no, so the shoulder stuff, I've got an injury from a long time ago that makes those things difficult. But of course, the coaches that always work with you always give you modifications. I think Greg's probably being a little over generous with that, but I do appreciate it. A little confidence.
So, yeah, man. So, like, fast forward 150 plus CrossFit workouts in, like, you now have a more veteran perspective, right? So when you see people come into CrossFit and they're new to the CrossFit thing, what mistakes do you see them making? Or if there's just one, like, what's the most common mistake you see newbie CrossFitters making? Or maybe, like, looking back, if you were to speak to brand new to CrossFit at Burnley, like, what mistake would you not make again if it was you?
When I first joined, I remember everybody asking, like, well, what's your time slot going to be? And my schedule was really jumbled. And it took about 6 months. And then I kind of settled in on 9:30. And that's when I really started to enjoy CrossFit, because it's the same people, and you start to become friends with them, and you start to learn about their families, and you start to joke, and then you start to get the inside jokes, and then it's just part of your routine. So if I had to tell myself in the beginning, like, don't jump from class to class, try as much as you can to stick with one group. They're all
Sure.
great. You'll find yours.
Yeah, it's like, so I get that. You have a very variable schedule. And so we get it why you go from this morning class, this evening class, and back and forth. I think there's something really valuable, if you can do it, to establish a ritual where this is my workout time and I'm there on these days each week. Because, like, toward what you're saying, you get to know people in that time spot, and then you get to the people that you like to lift with, people that you like to cardio with. You guys get to know each other and vibe and joke and all that. So the community can make it a lot easier to be consistent, because then people notice if you go missing.
Oh yeah, and you hear about it.
So then, for Ed, what's your number one goal in fitness right now? What are you most excited about achieving?
I honestly haven't set many goals, I would say. I'm more in the maintenance phase, with life, with the kids, job and everything. The reason I chose CrossFit was because it's hands off. You guys do everything, just show up. And I'm just trying to maintain so that when the time comes where life eases up, if it ever does, I'm not starting from scratch.
Sure. How'd you find out about us in the first place, Ed?
So you guys, I think when you first started, and this is probably 2007, maybe, when you first came to Edwardsville.
Yeah, it's been a while.
You guys did a Firefighter challenge, and I just came to Edwardsville. I just came home from overseas military, and I was probably in the best shape of my life. And I was like, oh, I'll go do that. And so I got to meet a lot of the Edwardsville guys through that, and got to meet your staff. And it was something that I always wanted to do, especially after that experience. And then, what did we fast forward 13 years and finally made it happen. So
better late than never, Ed.
Absolutely.
About time you showed up, man. What took you so long?
Yeah, excuses. That's all it is.
We have, so to our audience, we have a newspaper clipping from many moons ago in the hallways of CrossFit Edwardsville, and there's a photograph of this young, dashing, dark-haired, strapping gentleman bent over like he's trying to catch his breath after doing a sled push event in the parking lot at the old CrossFit Edwardsville facility. And rumor has it that's you from like 15 years ago. Is this true?
It is, but I believe I was leaning over to check on my partner that was on the ground. I think that's what it was.
Yeah, you're checking out the other guys. You were fine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So now, you have that background, and you've been here now consistently CrossFitting for a year and a half, 2 years. Like, what keeps Ed coming back to CFE?
Like we talked about, that simplicity for me. I know that at 9:30 I can work out. If I miss 9:30, I got to hit the noon. And that's the schedule. And then the showing up and not having to think about, not have to worry about the workout. I never look ahead. You show up, you get what you get. And that's what I truly like. I used to do the gym routine where you'd have to motivate yourself to, okay, like maybe I'll do it at 11. Well, you don't have to. And then next thing you know, it's noon, and then you just put it off for a day. And then you get in there and you're like, all right, well, I can do 3 exercises and leave. This is so regimented. That's what I truly love about it. So that's one piece. The other piece is the family atmosphere. The girls in my class, they're, I almost said they're like mothers. They're like sisters, older sisters to me. Make sure they don't listen to that part. Ooh, so a lot of great people in the 9:30. If you're looking for a time slot, 9:30. But it's a great atmosphere.
Cool, man. So what have been the best benefits for you, like in terms of how you look, you feel, you perform, like what have been the benefits for Ed? Real talk, real life.
Flexibility. So, I was your typical gym guy where I'd go in and just lift heavy and then leave. The actual workout and then the post stuff is actually been more beneficial than I realized. I was trying to touch my toes the other day and I could touch the ground. And it's like, that is not typical for me, and it's not something I was consciously doing. It's something you guys kind of pushed, and hopefully that pays dividends on the job and I can last a little bit longer. So.
Absolutely. Yeah. I do I was in the 9:30 this morning, and I find it's really helpful with the coaches. It is the structure of the class. They always make us stretch. We warm up, we stretch. And I think that I probably wouldn't do that at all if the coaches weren't making us do it. But every single day, spending time actively stretching, I think has made me more flexible also. And I like to think that it's promoting longevity for us, that we can, be healthy, functional people for a lifetime where we've got good mobility. So shout out to Coach Bailey, Coach Toon for actually making us stretch. So, well, let's kind of switch gears. He had mentioned the family atmosphere. Let's send it over to the Burnley household. Tell us about your family now. Significant others, other family. Give us what does Ed Burnley's crew look like?
So I've been married for 12 years now, I think it is. And she's a nurse practitioner. So she works from home like half a day and then she takes off. I don't know where she goes, but she comes home and brings money. So that's good. Great girl, a wonderful woman, great mother. And then I've got 3 kids that are 3 little badasses, 9, 7, and 5. Boy, girl, boy. And so obviously that little girl in the middle is the princess, and she gets whatever she wants. And those little boys are little monsters, and got to keep them in check.
Where did they get that, Ed? Where did they get that from?
It's from their mom. Now, I remember my mom telling me that, you're going to have kids just like you. And, oh, man, she was right. That our youngest is definitely the most difficult, and I could just see my mom yelling at him or yelling at me, and I'm doing the same thing to him. So it's payback.
What I find really interesting is that the majority, our average CrossFitter at CFE is a parent to kids under the age of 10. That's for us, it's age 25 to 45, maybe 25 to 50, working professional, history of exercise, married, kids under the age of 10. And it's we're all kind of in that season of life. And so, dude, I get it. My son is 9. I get it. He is a little Caroline for sure. Shout out to Caroline. Shout out to Zaza. What about the career man? Tell us about the professional man at Burnley.
All right. So I went to college to become a safety manager, deal with OSHA stuff like that. And I did that for 2 years after college. And jokingly, I wanted to kill myself. It was terrible, sitting behind a desk, doing OSHA regulations and telling people to put their safety glasses on. And I got an opportunity to be a firefighter in Alton, Illinois, and uprooted, run up there and did that for about 5 years, and then got a second opportunity to come to Edwardsville, and I've been here ever since. And it's a great career. It's different than when we started, and some of that's COVID, some of that's the population change, but it's exciting. It's not sitting behind a desk, which is good for me.
Well, so you have me curious. So, like, when you say it's different now, like you've been in firefight for a minute, I'm really curious to hear from like somebody who's really in it. Like, how has it evolved in the last few years? We've actually had like law enforcement officers on the podcast, and they've kind of told us how things have evolved for them. Like with fire, like you guys are your own world. What's different now being a firefighter versus a few years ago? You got me curious.
So there's two sides of the fire. On the fire side, the building construction, that's all changed. And so a fire that we could used to show up to and have 30 minutes to work before, really having issues is now down to like 10 minutes. But in Edwardsville, we don't fight much fire. Our primary response is EMS. And so we're on an ambulance for, 8-9 calls a day. And that's where we really see the change. And this is going to sound terrible, but people don't take as much self-responsibility, I guess. They'll call and say, well, I don't want to pigeon anybody on that. I stubbed my toe. Can you take me to the hospital? And it's like, yeah, we can, but some self-medication at home would probably just be as good. So, and I don't know if that's a cultural thing, a population shift, or what the answer is to it, but that's what we're seeing right now. And of course, COVID, but.
So it sounds like, so to our audience, like we know there's been new fire department buildings built here in Edwardsville. It sounds like it's taken the response time down significantly, like 30 minutes, like 10 minutes. That's what you're saying?
No, so the building construction, so your home, if it was built in the 50s, was built very solidly, right? Like 2x12s, things like that. The homes that are being built now are built from like laminated wood chips. And so all that glue melts and it'll fail a lot quicker. And so we don't want to be inside that fire when that fails.
Oh, I see. I got it. So the job has become more dangerous on account of the building materials involved because you have a smaller margin. Like we can be in a building rescuing for a smaller amount of time before it's real dangerous, what you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
Interesting. I'd never thought about that. So again, thank you to you and your crew for doing the dangerous work and helping people and protecting the community. On your behalf, though, I am frustrated that it sounds like so many people are ringing your phone for what sounds like maybe is not a true emergency, is what it sounds like.
I mean, I understand it's an emergency to them, and they just want help, and that's what we're there for. But yeah, it takes its toll.
Is that something that you'd expected? Like when you first got into firefight, like for me, I'm kind of new to that world, and this is all like educational for me. What did you already know going in? Hey, this could be a lot of like EMS responses. It could be less fires, could be more like addressing cardiac arrest, that sort of thing.
I had a general idea that most of the fire service was going to EMS. Fires only happen on an occasion. We'll say, I don't even want to put a number on it. So most departments will pick up the ambulance as kind of a supplement to the city. So you're paying this firefighter to be here, you might as well at least ride on the ambulance. But when I first started, I was in Alton, and they didn't have ambulances, so it was nothing but fire, car accidents, stuff like that, and it was fantastic. And then to better yourself, you have to go to paramedic school and stuff like that, and so I did. But yeah, no, I had zero interest in being on an ambulance. I still have zero interest in being on an ambulance, but that's part of the job.
So, like, do you guys see like the impact of like? I'm hearing as an outsider that fentanyl is becoming a bigger and bigger and bigger problem. Like, are you guys seeing that in this community? Like, is that a thing here or no?
It's actually not a huge issue in our community, in Edwardsville, Glen Carbon area. In the surrounding area, yeah, it is an issue. So we're very fortunate that we've got a good system in place that it's not really an issue for us.
I consider that to be very, very fortunate. It's good to hear from you guys that at least our community seems to be safe for that, at least for now. Like, what are the major challenges that like Ed foresees, like looking down the line, like as a person in your role, like is there something that you foresee being a challenge or difficulty in the future?
Ooh. So I think everybody's going to feel the same issue. as these baby boomers officially leave the workforce, which I think is, almost done with. We're going to see that gap between them and this next workforce. It's such a huge gap. That's why we really don't have personnel. And talking to a lot of the local fire departments, Dalton, Collinsville, we used to test, and there'd be 300-400 people sitting at a test trying to get, 1 or 2 jobs. And, like Collinsville just tested, and I think they had like 2 applicants and neither one would qualify kind of thing. So they had to retest. And so that over the next probably 10, 15, 20 years is going to be one of the issues, is trying to get qualified people in the door.
What disqualifies people? Like I just had this conversation with somebody the other day, recruiters to the armed services. I know the challenges they have and what disqualifies people for them. Like, what disqualifies the candidates coming to fire services?
So there's a couple things. Some departments require you to have your basic firefighter out of the way or your paramedic. And so, I mean, if you don't have those, automatically disqualified. But if you make it through that, you actually go through a physical agility test, and then a psychological, and then a background. And so a lot of times somebody will be dishonest on their background or at least something off. That'll disqualify you. Sometimes the psychological, you'll answer questions that you may not be truthful on or red flags, and that can eliminate you as well.
I gotcha. We go over on like the armed services side. They have a real problem finding enough people that are fit enough to meet the demands of the job. Is that true for firefight also?
Not terribly. Firefighting's been traditionally a male's profession. We've had 2 girls hired in the last, I think it's 2 years, and both of them, I mean, they're absolutely capable of doing the job. I mean, they're not like one was a CrossFitter, but the other girl is just a normal looking girl that can handle her own. And so there's a spot for being physically fit, but a lot of it's mental too. So
I find that so interesting. That's awesome. Like, shout out to them, and hopefully that you guys start to find more qualified people to help and fill in those roles. So you guys, so I know over on law enforcement, like, they're short staffed, it's super stressful, and there's like 2 people doing the work of 5, and nobody can get a day off, and it's just like super stressful. And I feel for anybody that has that situation. So if that's you guys also, just setting like all of our appreciation to you guys for being the glue holding things together, Ed, and for being one man doing the work of many. Thank you for that. But let's say Ed Burnley gets a day off, right? He's got a day off. He can do whatever he wants. Like, tell us about your hobbies, your interests outside the gym. What does Ed like to do for fun besides fitness? And shout out your people.
My people are those 3 little kids and that wife. I have no hobbies. I have no life outside of work and them. I don't know. When I get a day off, I like to lay on the couch and do nothing. So, but I do. Lewis and Clark Community College has a fire science program, and I get to be the program coordinator for that. And to be honest, that's kind of what I do in my spare time. It's helping future firefighters work through their degrees and get on the job. So that's kind of what I do. It's not fun or exciting, at least, but it's something I enjoy.
Again, thank you for that, because I feel like it's helping to keep the skilled crew that we need to actually handle firefight EMS stuff around here. So at least for me to you, thank you. Well, we're going to go in kind of like a lightning round, Ed, and just blast through a handful of questions to kind of get to know some different angles on Ed Burnley. So our first one, Ed, what is an unusual habit or absurd or crazy thing that you love? Go.
Family Guy.
Family Guy, the TV show.
Yes.
Who's your favorite character?
It depends on the episode.
Okay. Any mantras or mottos or philosophies that guide you in life? Go.
Too easy.
What's that?
Too easy. So the guys at work make fun of me. Apparently, I say that often. They're like, "Hey, we need to do this. Too easy." So I don't know if it's like a tick or something, but that's my mantra apparently.
I have never heard you say that at CrossFit.
I'm going to bring that up to them. Like, hey, it's only you guys, though.
Yeah, right. Going to today's team workout. Oh, too easy. As long as Chris Bronner handles the workout, as long as he does the most of the work.
Exactly.
All right. So Ed, if you could make one statement to the world, what would it be? Or to put it another way, like if you had to choose one thing to be on a billboard that's going to be seen by thousands or millions of people, what would that billboard say?
Make the best of it. You only get one shot.
Only get one shot. Make the best of it. When we asked Angel Bays about that, she also had a very similar answer. So shout out to Angel. All right, as you look ahead in life, Ed, what most excites you about the future? What do you most look forward to? Go.
The kids. We're starting to get out of that diaper, or we're well out of the diaper phase. The kids are starting to get their own little personalities, starting to develop their, what sports they like, what activities they like. And I don't know, I find that fun and exciting to see how they change, and I'm excited to see who they become. Hopefully they don't screw this up. I don't know.
Is it true that I only have one child? Is it true that each child is a completely different person and a completely different experience?
Oh yeah.
How are your kids different? Like what? Like we know, like there's the gal in the middle, and she's like the princess and the sweetheart. And then the guys on the other is like, who are they?
So the oldest, and this is almost like my family growing up. The oldest is going to be probably like the politician or the doctor. Like the one that we don't have to worry about. The little girl in the middle, I'll tell you, she could be an axe murderer or she could be a princess. I don't know which way she's going to go yet. But the youngest one, we're pretty sure he's going to be an axe murderer. So that's all there is to it.
Right.
That's not true. So if you ever watches this, we know he's going to be an electric engineer.
There we go, electric engineer. Hey, Ed, we want to thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for being part of the first responder crew in Edwardsville. Thank you for helping to keep the community safe. Just thank you for being you. Thanks for being a part of our CrossFit community as well.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on, man. This was great. I appreciate it. Love the gym. Love the community.
Well, awesome. To our audience out there, if you want to learn more about CrossFit, you can find us on all the socials. Google CrossFit Edwardsville. Google reviews. When you're ready, check out CrossFitEdwardsville.com. You can book a no sweat conversation with a coach to learn about what your CrossFit journey looks like, and we'll take it from there. Thanks everybody again for joining us in this episode, and we'll see you in the next one.